Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're joining us from, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Stefan from Business Review, and I will be your host for today. It is our pleasure to have BrainCorp and Tennant with us today, who will be presenting this webinar titled Solving Today's Airport Cleaning Challenges. Today's guest speakers are Dave Frank, Chris Wright, Don Tu, Kevin Nicholson. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar platform On24. You notice that this webinar is browser-based, so if you disconnect for any reason, please just click on the link that you received via email to rejoin the session. In order to ask questions, you can send them in via the question widget. Just type them into the box at the top left-hand corner of your screen and click Submit. We'll allocate some time at the end of the session to address any questions or thoughts that you may have. Please use the yellow help widget if you require any assistance, and you can move, resize, and maximize any of the windows in front of you to get a better view of the slides. But now, please allow me to welcome Dave Frank.
Good morning, everyone. And for those of you on the East Coast, good afternoon. We're going to be talking about the commercial cleaning industry, and our industry made a major pivot right around the middle of March when the shutdowns occurred. And we were thrust into what we refer to as a technical cleaning world, which is what happens in hospitals and specialty areas of our business. And so over the last 6 months, we've been writing protocols. We've been looking at best practices and standards, and the commercial cleaning industry has been elevated. Also, there's budget components to what we do and productivity issues, and everything that I've seen up to now represents structure. And so we're going to be verifying the subject matters of this webinar today with industry standards, because someone's going to ask a question and the standards give us a tool that we can point to that explains why we're looking at regulations, why we're looking at standard operating procedures, why we're defining tasks, why we're performing a risk assessment of the area types within any facility. And so mechanization and productivity in our industry always matter. And there are 3 basic subjects that we've seen emerge. One is labor reallocation. Ultimately, depending on the funding that you may have received, depending on what's going on in your facility, the cost of cleaning will rear its head. And we're going to have to look at ways to mechanize tasks, reallocate labor, look at where my highly touched objects may be, where critical cleaning needs to be. The other component is infection prevention level cleaning. Everything from the equipment to the closets to everything that we touch has to be cleaned and disinfected. And so germ transmission happens pretty easily, and now all of a sudden we're going to be cleaning airports and other types of facilities with the same protocols that we might use in a hospital. There's also going to be some case studies and a Q&A session at the end of this program. A lot of people ask me what's a best practice, and a lot of times what I try to do is point to a worst practice and then pick the opposite of that. And so best practices aren't overly complicated, but they have to be defined by management and by supervision. And so for when we look at best practices, we found them on the principles of standards, and then I'll cover what the actual definition looks like. The standards are for facilities managers, in-house operations, and contract cleaners. This was assembled with 3 committees. We had peer review, and we also had a comment period. So the adoption of the standard is that it's neutral. It doesn't tell people how to run the business. It identifies how they manage the business, and then they manage it in a cost-effective manner for their specific facility. Obviously, the goal is to have clean, safe, healthy airports at the lowest possible cost. Now, that's easy to say, but actually assembling the programs, looking at the labor requirements, looking at all of the things that you have to clean within your facility is no easy task, and I'm not going to present it as one. It really requires a snapshot of what we're currently doing, what do we have to do in this current health crisis, and ways in which we can move forward. Now, I've traveled for the better part of over 30 years. I've got about 2 million miles in the air. And so I've been in every airport in America almost, and a lot of global areas as well. So when we look for areas of improvement, these pictures depict what we normally see. And so whether it's a visitor's area or the counter, or immigration coming through, where we're scanning passports, restrooms. All these protocols have changed. How many people can be in an elevator, as an example. I don't see a lot of people in public spaces that are intentionally touching things. But when I'm in the trains, I see people grabbing onto holding handles. Some people are using their jackets or their shirts. Some people are even wearing gloves. I see the charging stations in the airports and the seats. If you stand in any of these areas, security as an example, you're going to see innumerable areas where it's highly touched objects. Highly touched object cleaning has a production rate to it, and you certainly can use certain types of tools to make it happen faster, but the reality is that it takes time, and there's a standard operating procedure for properly cleaning. We also look to EPA's registration, the master labels for the standard operating procedure when we're using an EPA-registered disinfectant. We also have to be aware that closets need to be clean and dry. Our tools need to be disinfected on a daily basis. I may need to rinse out the inside of an auto scrubber tank and make sure that we disinfect the inside of the tank, the squeegees, potentially the brushes. And so this is how we look at infection prevention best practices. The turnstiles, the water fountains, the food courts, the food service areas, all of these areas should be identified. Each of these individual area types should have a task list as to what it is that we're cleaning. I can certainly laminate those task lists, and I'll show you an example. There's task lists, there's frequencies, it can define the tools, and then we're going to establish an SOP. That could be put together in a laminated card where the SOP is on one side, and then the task list could be on the other, so that it's clear as to what the expectations are, and then how frequently are we cleaning some of these specific areas that we see. So best practices, as I've defined it, and a lot of people have asked the question, it should be safe for the frontline worker. It should be safe for the occupants of the building. It has to be cost effective. I can't be using something that has a production rate that's less than what I currently have. The production rates are determined by engineers, and there's also a practical production rate that you can define in your building with your equipment, your people, and what it is that you're actually cleaning. Those are the production rates that I like to count on, is the practical ones, and there are certainly ways in which you can do an informal time study to come up with the hours to perform a task. I'm looking for clean. I'm looking for the right type of outcome. It's either clean or it's not. I need products that are intuitive to address a multicultural workforce or a special needs workforce. We work with a lot of federal agencies that work with non-for-profit organizations. We also have to make sure that we're addressing the industry standards. SIMS is the management structure that deploys all of the provisions that you need as it relates to the commercial cleaning industry from an operational perspective. Everything from government regulations to technical training to the financial components of the budgeting process. This is what a standard operating procedure looks like. Now, Tennant and other manufacturers in the chemical industry and other areas of our business may have wall charts on how to maintain equipment. They may have wall charts on how to clean a restroom. This is an example of how we structure it. It doesn't have to be this way. But the procedure or standard operating procedure is a step-by-step, succinct procedure as to how to get the job done effectively, quickly, and safely. And then over on the right, you see some safety tools, and then what are the products for that specific task. So whether it's cleaning a cafeteria area or a seating area or whether it's cleaning charging stations, you can certainly customize succinct SOPs for those tasks to define how it gets done and what it gets done with. What we're looking for here is a set of instructions that gives the worker a step-by-step procedure that's written, that they can read, and that they can effectively do the job. Now, some of the manufacturers may use icons, or we have some clients who take their own pictures of specific areas and make their own charts using pictures and text. Also, we can convert this into Spanish, French, or any language that's also part of the requirements of the standards that have been established. When we talk about area types in an airport, and this is what Denver International Airport looks like. I'm from Colorado, so this is a picture of our airport, which I probably could see in my sleep. And so there are different concourses, and then within each concourse, there's different types of area types. Once I define the area types, then I can write the SOP for what I'm cleaning in the area type. I can establish a list of tasks, and I can put into place a frequency for those tasks. Obviously, performing a risk assessment of the area types is important. Restrooms are high risk. Food service areas are high risk. Break rooms are classified as high risk. Baby changing stations and areas where I'm serving the public obviously are considered a high risk. And so everything else can be a medium risk or a low risk from there. I'm a visual person. I like to see maps. I like to see what my areas are and then pictures of what it is that I'm supposed to be cleaning and with what types of tools, what types of equipment am I using to make the job happen fast, effectively, and safely. This is an example of what a task and frequency looks like. This is used in the computer programs of our industry. You can see in restrooms that I now have the succinct step-by-step procedure, the standard operating procedure, but I'm giving it a frequency. If I want an area cleaner, I increase the frequency. If I want to cut costs, I can decrease the frequency. But these frequencies give management, supervisors, and frontline workers, again, a definition of the expectation. And it also helps us with the budgeting process when we start to look at what is the cost of cleaning. Now, this embodies a lot of the principles not only in the standard, but also in a workloading textbook so that we can do job costing, or some people may call it workloading. Labor reallocation is going to be critical moving forward, and labor allocation is not overly sophisticated, but what we're looking for is can we deploy something like battery-powered vacuums to increase productivity? Can we deploy robotic auto scrubbers to save labor hours so that we can take those labor hours and use them for highly touched object cleaning, infection prevention level cleaning, cleaning high-risk areas? And so workloading is a subject matter. There is a guidebook that we published several years back. This is an infographic of the steps to do that. Again, I have to understand my area types. I have to know the square footage. I have to know what frequency of the task. I have to know the production rate of the particular piece of equipment so that I can apply that production rate and know how many hours it's going to take to perform trash. How many hours is it going to take to vacuum? How long is the floor care task going to take? And so everyone knows cleaning, but they don't always know and isolate the actual cost of cleaning. And then our industry is big, and the budgets are sizable. And so a lot of people come to our departments for cost-cutting measures. And I'm not saying that you have to put in cost-cutting measures, but what I do like to know is what is the cost of cleaning? What tasks are we doing? And then have a roadmap just in case somebody asks the question so that you can lay out that roadmap and say, here's our tasks, here's our frequencies, here's our SOPs, these are the total hours that we need to keep this building clean, safe at this level. Tell me where we're going. Tell me what it is that you want to do. And so you can verify this methodology in Sections 1 and Sections 2 of our standard, and the standard is used in case someone asks, why are we doing it that way? What is the outcome? what were the financial findings of performing that specific provision within the standard. So Tennant is one of the leading companies in our industry. They have a lot of resources and information. We can help you if you're looking for additional tools to help get more definition around operations and the financial component of your cleaning department. Okay. That concludes my section of the program. I'm going to turn this over to Chris, and he's going to talk about mechanization and productivity. Chris, take it away.
Dave, thank you very much. Fantastic information as always. Appreciate everybody on the call today on the webinar. Very excited to have you there. I think one of the most exciting things that has happened to our industry in recent years is the introduction of autonomous robots to the cleaning industry. It's always been something that has been looked at and kind of wished that it would come to our industry, and I'm here to tell you that it is here, and it is doing a fantastic job. Everybody knows, especially right now, the importance of cleaning, and cleaning is more important than ever, especially under the current situation with the COVID-19 pandemic. You know, our challenges are even more than they were before. And even before the pandemic, we were all challenged with finding employees to come in, constant rotation of employees, different cultures, different languages. There's a constant challenge that's going on with just cleaning in general. And now with the pandemic, it's even more important than ever, because with those same things that I just mentioned, you have to do more with fewer resources. And especially, we have the added caveat of rebuilding traveler confidence. And that's a huge thing for airports to undertake now. Airport authorities across the country, in tandem with their cleaning personnel, their building service contractors that are helping them clean their facility. One of the key things to get the economy back going is to rebuild traveler confidence. And you're going to notice with some of these statistics, which I find to be rather eye-opening. 58% of travelers that say they're avoiding air travel. That is something that we have to help turn around. 33% of travelers say they will continue to avoid travel. Once again, that is a massive number. And really, as we all know, airports are critical to the economy. We've got to get people and the confidence to get people back out traveling, and that they feel good about traveling. They feel safe about traveling. And one of the biggest things we can do to help affect that is when they come into the airports, is they feel comfortable and they see activity happening. That's why a lot of airports are starting to turn towards cleaning robots. Because what that does is it sets an immediate tone in the facility. When somebody walks into your facility and they see a robot moving through the facility safely, efficiently, that is a big indicator to that individual that this location takes cleaning very importantly, and that is critical to them. And then what they see is now they see the operators, instead of standing behind or sitting on the machine, they see them performing what we refer to as higher value tasks. They are cleaning touch points and wiping down handrails and going through security and wiping down those areas on the sterile and non-sterile sides. And all of that sets the tone. So robots really help to rebuild that. And especially on this last point, which is 38% of travelers say their biggest concern is airport restrooms. Well, one of the biggest things, everybody is always nervous about restrooms, and restrooms are always very high on the concern list. And what robots allow you to do, once again, is they allow you to reallocate that labor and spend that extra time on restrooms, spend that extra 10 or 15 minutes really going through the restroom on a deeper clean, really focused on touch areas, much more so than the pre-pandemic time. So with that being said, let me kind of give you an idea of what exactly a robot in action can do. This is the Tennant T7 AMR. This is a 26-inch robotic floor scrubber. We really actually refer to it as a cobot because it really is part of your team. It becomes part of your team and it needs some interaction with the operator. But the first thing to know about these is they are incredibly safe. We have millions of autonomous run hours on these units, and they're very safe and designed to run in dynamic areas. Very simple to use, as you can see here. Simply bring it up to a home locator code, enter in the map that you would like to do, go ahead and hit the button on the back, and you're good. The robot's going to head off and start cleaning and doing what it needs to do systematically, methodically, and safely. It'll move around objects and people and luggage and all the different things that you see in airports, stanchions, and all of that. It'll safely move around. And while it's doing that, what that does is that allows you to then take that individual, he or she, and reallocate them to other tasks while the robot is off doing what it is doing. So what exactly are autonomous robots? It leverages AI technology and sensors to clean autonomously. Once again, number one priority with the BrainOS operating system on the Tennant T7 AMR and the other Tennant units which are utilizing BrainOS is safety. It has a complete navigation and sensor stack and suite that allows the unit to run safely through an airport, around people, luggage, stanchions, all the other things and all the things that you see in airport. And as I said earlier, it's really a cobot, not a robot. And what I mean by that is there is some human interaction that has to happen between the robot and the robot operator. The robot needs to be taken out to a certain area. It needs to be put in that area, a map chosen, and then released. Now, in teaching the robot, you simply bring it up to the area. We didn't want to have to bring in special sensors or people and do special mapping of the area. That's all built into the robot utilizing teach and repeat technology and methodology. And what that does is the operator will sit on the unit the first time, drive it through the airport in the areas that they want to map and clean at the time that they want to do it, and they create a map. And as you're driving it through that one time, the robot is learning and creating the map. Once you are done, you simply bring it back to the home locator code that you saw earlier. You save that map. Once that map is saved, it is immediately available for use. The great thing about this is it allows the robot operators to quickly teach maps, and if your environment changes, it allows them to quickly adapt to the new environment. It is completely safe to navigate in high-traffic airport locations. We have it currently running in multiple high-traffic airports around the country, safely operating on a daily basis, as well as we have it operating in high-traffic retail environments. So small kids who are unpredictable, luggage, weary travelers, you don't have to worry about that. The robot is going to safely and easily navigate through those environments. And as I said earlier, very simple to deploy. You don't need to put special sensors or anything through the airport. It is simply a home locator marker, which is hung discreetly on a wall, normally near an entrance or exit to the back of house where the machine is stored. So very simple to bring into any airport and start mapping and having the robot up and running. It's very common that our customers will get a robot in, and within as little as a few hours, we'll have the robot trained and running in the facility. What are some of the key benefits of robotic cleaners for airports? Well, really right off the bat, one of the most important things, it really enables for more efficient workloading. As Dave mentioned earlier, the importance of workloading and how to schedule things so that you can get done what you need to get done now, especially during the current pandemic situation. What this really allows you to do is reevaluate how you're currently doing, because airports floors have to get cleaned 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It is a must do. It is not an option not to clean floors in airport facilities. So with that in mind, what this allows you to do is shift the majority of that time it normally takes to clean and scrub these hard floors. And you can now shift a majority of that over on what we refer to as higher value tasks. What it does is provide additional hours for sanitizing, as mentioned, high contact surface areas, And there's plenty of those in airports, as we know, especially in the gate areas where people are sitting, charging stations, restrooms. Those are all critical areas that a lot of people come in contact with every day. It also allows your cleaners to assist travelers a little bit more. Travelers are a little nervous about traveling again. They're a little off their game, especially travelers that don't travel that often. It really also opens up the ability to have your people, as they're moving through, if they need to answer questions, they know that they have a moment to stop and assist those travelers. It also keeps employees safer through social distancing. Instead of having an operator on the machine going through your airport, you now have the robot running through your airport. It sends the messaging to the travelers coming through your airport. It also does not put your individual employee directly in contact as much. Obviously, employees are going to have to come in contact with different travelers and different people as they move through the airport, but at least this takes that component and it takes that away so that it will help to minimize the amount of times they have to come in contact. We all know that exhausted workers are a common thing in almost every facility. They're being asked to do more with less. We have absenteeism is up, so we're always looking to fill the voids. And with this robot, what it allows you to do is it allows you to make sure that your floors are getting cleaned. It helps, especially if you're using certain types of equipment, that individuals don't have to be walking additional miles every night as they're cleaning floors. Now the robot can do that. And that really, like we said earlier, takes that weight and that burden off of your employees. A lot of our customers have commented and a lot of employees have commented how important the robot has become to them and that they feel like they have more energy. In fact, we actually had one robot operator that said she came home and she was excited to tell her daughter that she was no longer just a custodian, which isn't a bad thing at all, but she was now a robot operator, and that her daughter was very excited and started asking her questions about her job, which she hadn't done before. So that's a very exciting thing and powerful tool to be able to bring to your employees. And another thing that these are able to do is verify cleaning performance via reporting and analytical dashboards. The robot is connected to the cloud, and it's become more important than ever in this COVID environment to validate and verify that cleaning has been done. And when the robot runs through your facility, it will tell you exactly what it has done, where it was ran, what maps were run, what time it was run, and what was cleaned. So you have this complete access to data, which now tells you exactly where your floors have been cleaned, when they were cleaned, if they need to be cleaned again. So you have this very powerful additional tool that is now in your toolbox that helps you to really focus and become more efficient in workloading and cleaning your airport. What is the BrainCorp and Tennant approach? Well, right off the bat, robotics improve labor allocation. It helps to reduce costs for clients and enhance the cleaning services. Some of the, figures that we have collected is, we have over 1.7 million autonomous run hours that Tennant has on their T7 AMR fleet. And they almost have 4,000 AMRs deployed into the field and will be over 4,000 by the end of the year. They've also mapped well over 20 billion square feet, which is just a staggering figure. And what does all of this do? All of this helps to reallocate the labor and adjust how you clean. Deploying cleaning robots gives valuable time back to employees, as we discussed, focusing once again on detail cleaning, and really does not have any impact overall and actually ends up helping to save money once the robots are introduced and brought into your cleaning program. The performance metrics from BrainOS allow us once again to validate the expectations. We can actually have real hands-on data, which goes into showing us how the machines are used and when they're used. And most of our clients have really found that additional data invaluable in rebuilding the way that they're cleaning because of the current situation with COVID-19. With that, I would like to hand it over to Don with Flagship.
Thank you so much. So once again, my name is Don Toole, and I'm a Senior Vice President with Flagship Facility Service. And we've been asked to give a little bit of insight into the challenges and the solutions and the results and outcomes that we've been able to drive using the robotic and other IoT functions. And thought it would be important to first let you know a little bit about who Flagship is. And once again, I said my name is Don. I'm actually in Pensacola, Florida, so I'm excited to actually have electricity and internet today after the hurricane, so we're blessed to still be all safe and hoping to recover soon. But Flagship was founded in 1988, so we've been just over 32 years old, almost 33 years old today. But we're still headquarters in San Jose, California. We've been servicing airports for over 25 years. We recently opened our Dallas service center in Southlake, Texas, so that we could give better coverage across the country. And we're proud to say that we have 7 of our airports that are rated in the top of their categories for customer satisfaction by J.D. Powers. And currently we have just over 6,000 employees, and over 30% of those work specifically in airports and with airlines. What you're seeing on the screen coming up is just a few of the airports and aviation partners that we service every day nationwide. Kind of wanted to highlight 3 that we have done a lot of IoT and robotic implementations in recent years. So, these are 3 of the leaders where we've done a lot of innovation and a lot of innovative inputs. But one is, Tampa International Airport, where, have a lot of tile floors, beautiful ceramic tile, not ceramic, excuse me, but terrazzo floors. So it's a nice airport with the beautiful segways in it, and where we use the robotic scrubbers. San Diego International Airport, we do a lot of testing actually with BrainCorp in the past, where we've done beta within the airport on their systems. So very proud of that. And then just recently we started Salt Lake International Airport. We actually started in April at the height of the COVID situation, and we were able to successfully transition that airport, as well as open their new terminal facility just a few weeks ago. So just a few places where we've been able to help implement and bring in these type of innovations. So when we talk about challenges, it really comes down to, what are we as service providers facing out in the field today? Well, one of the first thing is we have got to help to increase that traveler's confidence and maintain their trust in what's happening within the sanitation world. We also have to make sure that we're able to do more with the same resources, that we're able to increase, the touch point cleanings, and that we're able to do more with what we have. And then it's also about always getting better data so that we can make sure that we're driving performance in everything that we do and increasing passenger satisfaction in all the areas that we touch. And really right now, visibility of what's happening, whether it be touch point cleaning or others of disinfecting, that's another big challenge to make sure that we're doing that each and every day within our platforms. So when we think about solutions, we always want to follow some of the same processes. So how can we refocus or improve our staff and workflows? We have to think about that as we develop a solution. How does the solution improve the cleaning processes and the programs that we put in place? How is the education ease for training both internal customers, which is our team, and the external partners and customers? And the big thing is, what is the reliability of this? And so with Flagship, we've been reviewing the innovation of robotics for over the last 20 years, and we've been really waiting for a time when the ROIs became much more efficient. And over the last few years, that time has really become now. And some of the big things around this is to make sure we had solid reliability. And BrainCorp and Tennant, those two company and industry leaders being together has really given us that strong sense of reliability that we can make sure that we're putting things into place. And then, other things that we looked at, we talked about reliability. It's how can you get metrics? Everything's being driven more and more by data. So what kind of data can we receive from these processes? And then ultimately, how does it improve our KPIs? And how easily can it be deployed? How can we train our employees? How can we make sure that the customer is trained and feels comfortable and confident in what we're putting together? So these are just some of the ways we looked for solutions as we looked at the different variables. But the results of actually partnering in with Tennant and Brain Corporation has been pretty significant. You know, it's helped us to be able to reallocate labor and to do a lot of things. One is more detailed cleaning, especially when it comes to floors. It's making sure to be able to deeper clean corners, edges, other areas, high dusting that needs to be done, you know, more systematically. And so what we've been able to do is we've gotten about, so far year to date, out of the robot units we have deployed, we've got about 6,000 hours that we've been able to reallocate to other things, such as touch point cleanings on the handrails of escalators and moving sidewalks, to elevator buttons, to, you know, all the other high touch points, but also to other detailed cleaning areas. We've actually added more robots this year, and we expect that we'll exceed 10,000 hours saved by the end of December, just by the solutions that we've been able to put out there. And, you know, giving this time back to our employees has really had little to no impact on anything, neither the employees nor the customer in terms of cost, because, you know, we've been able to depreciate the cost of the units, but at the same time give the employees a much greater satisfaction in what their job is and what they're doing, and allowing them to be more specific and do a better job at greater details that are happening within the airport. You know, when we have our cobot operators, you know, it was said earlier, but they really do become that better level of expert at what their job is. It really does improve their performance, and it improves their job satisfaction, and just gives them a greater deal of confidence. And then ultimately the metrics that we're getting out of this, it allows us to share and actually give results back on the KPIs. It gives us a proof point of where cleaning has been done, how it's been done, how often it's been done. We get a lot of stuff that we use on our side from a contractor's point of view around up times, down times, and being able to make sure that we're properly using and getting all of these areas touched and handled in the proper formats. You know, so what's next for us? We're continuing to look at not only just the robotic units, but it's all the IoT that's now coming out there, from the smart restroom platforms all the way into other areas of robotics. We're right now doing some beta testing with robotic vacuum cleaners that we are looking to deploy within the next year. We plan to have added and get somewhere close to 16 robotic units by the end of this year that will be out there. And, you know, ultimately, this is all defined by the ROI. Can we get the return on investment? Can we show the value to our customers and our partners? And does it increase that satisfaction? And does it increase our employees' satisfaction and the engagement? And does it also increase passenger confidence, passenger trust, and the passenger experience as a whole? And what we've kind of seen is that a lot of the robots are used at night. However, they are still deployed during normal hours. And when people see that, I think they get a great confidence out of seeing that there's these machines that are working and handling areas, and they're also getting a better view of our employees being highly visible as they, you know, clean the arm rails, clean the chairs, clean all the ticket counter areas that are being touched. You know, it's all those other high touch points that they can gain a lot of confidence in knowing that they're being sanitized and cleaned properly on an ongoing, regular basis. And with that, I think I get to turn it back over for some question and answers.
Thank you very much. Just a reminder for the audience, in order to ask questions, you can send them in via the questions widget. Just type them into the box and at the top left corner of your screen and click submit. But it looks like we have some questions coming in already. Don, you mentioned that you've been looking at robots for 20 years. Why now? What tipped the scale for you?
Well, one is we were always looking at the reliability and the cost factor, and where does the cost of the units and the cost of labor marry to bring that to a good solid solution. And over the last few years, with the advancements in all areas of IoT, as it advances more, it brings some of the costs to be much more efficient and effective. And that return on investment now has just become the right thing. And then when you think about our current state with COVID, it allows us to really be able to get more with the same amount of labor force. So we're not always just reducing labor. That's actually has been a very little portion of what we've done with our robotic units. Mainly, it's allowed us to enhance our employees' efficiency, to let them focus on a lot more greater needs and high touch points. And so because of the return on investment and really the reliability factors continuing to increase at a much greater rate, that has made now the right time for these units.
Thank you so much for that. Don, another question to you. How long did it take to deploy the cleaning robots? What sort of usage cleaning program did you deploy to ensure that they're used properly and effectively?
Could you answer the last part again? I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so how long did it take to deploy the cleaning robots, and what sort of usage or cleaning program did you develop to ensure they're used properly and effectively?
Thank you. The deployment is very short. I mean, it's really just once you're teamed up with Tennant and with BrainCorp, they get in, they set up the transponder system. The robot learns its systems very quickly. You're talking just a matter of a day to really get it ready up and running and deployed. For us, it's really been a part of in developing more of how are we going to structure task and team units that are going to work together. And that's really been the programs that we've been able to develop. We've been able to develop programs to where, one, we have certain employees that get a higher level of skill development to make sure that they are part of the cobot program and what they are doing with their cobot using the nice Tennant language there. That's what they're doing, is they're making sure that they now have that training, they have that up and running. But then what we've really been able to do is take that to our cleaning program to increase better focus on the periodic type stuff, on the details. It's really the detail parts of the cleaning. And then during COVID, it's really been helpful to be able to refocus these things to high touch point cleaning areas.
Thank you so much for that answer. Our next question is for Kevin. Can they be safely used during business hours when travelers are in the area? How does the cleaning robot ensure safety?
Yeah, hi, thank you. This is Kevin Nicholson. Real quick, I just want to say that I'm really proud to lead our team of robotics experts over here at Tennant Company. And it's really, really exciting to be innovating, pioneering really, and watching the people on our team break ice here as we really disrupt this industry. So it's really amazing. And I would say that the question about safety is probably best answered by Chris Wright, but I'll answer it from my side, from what I've seen on going out on multiple deployments, that the machine, this robot, is incredibly safe to use in very dynamic environments because it is outfitted with a suite of sensors and cameras and LiDAR that allows it to interpret what is happening and react immediately, and then without hesitating or losing a lot of time, keep going on its way. So it's really something you have to see to believe, and my team would be more than happy to show anybody in any airport this technology. And Chris, maybe you can back me up with some of the safety thoughts from your side, and I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kevin. As I mentioned during the presentation, safety is absolutely priority number one for the BrainOS system. These units are designed to run safely in open dynamic areas. And what I mean by that is they are designed to work around people, luggage, shopping carts, kids, which are the most unpredictable of all things. They are safely designed to work daily in these type of environments. We take safety as the utmost priority. The units will, as they detect movement, and they're constantly scanning, they never blink, they never look away. They're always looking for the environment. So they actually are moving more safely through an environment than a human operator. Not to say that human operators aren't safe, but these units, as I said, are constantly looking for everything, more so than any human operator can. They never come in tired. They never, like I said, look away or turn their head or get distracted. They're always focused on the first priority is moving safely through the environment, and the second priority is cleaning safely and effectively. So they're incredibly safe to be used both during the overnights where bulk cleaning gets done, but we have a lot of customers that are also using them during the day because they want to bring that additional value to the airport, and they want to show their clients that they're being used. It's very common to see travelers stop, take a picture of the robot, watch it for a couple of minutes, take that picture. It's free advertising for the airport because I've seen in all the deployments that I've done at airports, whether it's during the day or during the evening, most people will just walk by it like it really is just another day because travelers tend to be on a mission to get where they need to go. They're coming home, they're leaving, they're getting to the rental area, they're focused. However, we'll always have individuals that'll stop, take some pictures, think it's pretty cool, potentially ask some questions if they see us there, and then they move on and they always give a thumbs up or say, that's very cool.
Thank you so much for that, Chris. Another question to you. How do the robots respond to floor decals?
Good question. No problem at all with floor decals. It's very common that a lot of locations have floor decals. Since these machines are built with proven tenant technology and they're using the same type of scrub decks that a manual machine would, if you currently have a decal on the floor and you've gone over it with a manually operated machine, whether it's a walk behind or a ride on, you're going to have no issues going over it with the robotic cleaner. The robotic cleaner will just continue on its path. So, as I said, most decals, no issues. And the easiest way to look at it is if they are down and you're already cleaning over them, this isn't going to be a problem at all.
Thank you so much for that. Just a reminder to the audience, you can still submit questions via the Q&A widget in the top left-hand corner of your screen. And our next question is to Dave. How important are written standard operating procedures?
Standard operating procedures are critical to the outcome. And so if you're looking for consistency, then everybody has to be trained on what exactly the proper procedure is, what are the tools, and what is the safety equipment that we have to use while we're performing that specific task. And so consistent outcomes is what customers are looking for. They're looking for that experience as it relates to what happens when they walk in one area versus walking into another.
Thank you so much for that. So we've got another question coming in. If restrooms are considered one of the biggest concerns of travelers when it comes to sanitization, where do passenger trays and security X-ray fit on the passenger concern scale? I believe this question
this
is
is
for you,
Don. Okay. So actually, very important. It's kind of funny that the trays are one of the things that every single passenger just about has to touch as they go through. I think they're a big concern for passengers, and I know that all the airports that we actually service in, the majority of those are handled by the TSA group and the TSA teams. However, quite often we do extra sanitizing within those units and help out with those teams. But I do know that that is a very high focus within all the airports, and really it's something that the TSA has taken to be able to sanitize more of the trays more often, and actually staging them so that they're using one set, then sanitizing, moving the next set through. So very high concern, and something that I know that probably has as much touches as anything else within the airport. You know, the biggest thing about that is just making sure that each airport has a program designed to make sure that they're supporting the TSA groups that are putting that in place, but very high importance.
Thank you so much for that. Another question to you, Don. How have travelers responded to the cleaning robots in the airports?
When they see them, everybody always takes a step back because they're trying to make sure they know what they saw. But I think that everybody welcomes it. Everybody usually wants to take a picture of the robot. They generally have questions about how do they operate. They want to know. Usually they want to know what they're doing. But generally it's always been favorable. I mean, never had anything that was not favorable. Everybody really is intrigued by them. And I really think that it shows a level of sophistication and innovation that everybody wants to be able to associate with great programs and a clean, properly maintained airport and facilities. So very positive from all the reactions that I've been seeing.
Thank you so much for that. Just a reminder to the audience, don't forget you can still ask questions via the Q&A widget in the top left-hand corner of your screen. And I've got one more question for Don. What do your employees do with the additional time the robots give to them?
Mostly focus on the detail works that need to be done. It's really focusing on the details of whether it be floor care or high dusting, or it could be extra touch points within the restrooms during high flight banks, things of that nature. The employees are moved around to make sure that they're able to really enhance and improve all the areas of the airport cleanliness. Whenever, as budgets continue to be strained for all of us, this allows us to make sure that we implement this properly within our programs so that we can get the most out of all the assets that we're using, both the robots as well as our employees. And it also, the big thing with our employees is it really does give them a big enhancement in their professionalism and in what they're doing and in the satisfaction of their job in all that they take care of.
That's great. Thank you. We've got a question for Dave. How about implementing sensors to determine if a surface has been already cleaned and avoid doubling work? For example, the solutions provided by Zam Compute.
We looked at building sensors and technology from different types of vendors about 10 years ago. And we also did some user focus groups on the contract cleaning side for one of the leading Fortune 500 companies that sells towels and tissue. And so everyone has a different response to it. I believe that cleaning can become very random, and self-managed custodial staffs in this current environment probably is not the best way to deploy the workforce. And so I believe that the sensors allow us to determine how many people walk in and out of a restroom. And then once I have, let's say it's 100 or 200, then that triggers something that communicates to a device that would deploy a restroom specialist to that area. If I have conference rooms, we can put sensors in the conference rooms, and then it tells us when the chair was moved, when the conference room was exited, and that conference room now needs to be serviced. We've also seen sensors in towel dispensers, tissue dispensers, and also soap dispensers for the healthcare environment. And so I believe that they're more cost-effective than they have been, and depending on the organization that you're using, they can be used for a variety of different things, including inspections. And so technology is here. It's not going to go away. It's just a matter of using it not to penalize anyone, but as a training tool and to use it as a work deployment tool. I also have seen sensors used for the reallocation of labor within organizations beyond just telling me that a towel dispenser may be broken.
Thank you so much for that. Another question for Kevin or Chris. Do the cleaning robots require any customized infrastructure to deploy?
Chris, you want me to grab
I'll take that one? Yeah, I'll take that one. The great thing about the BrainOS system is it's a teach and repeat technology, which means the only additional thing you have to add to your infrastructure is, as you saw in the video, is a small unobtrusive home locator marker, which is typically placed at an entrance or exit point going to your back room where you store the units. So all that does is you pull the robot up to that home locator code, you scan it in the robot, and then you can immediately start teaching the robot on the map that you want. With utilizing industry-leading teach and repeat technology, what that allows the operator to do is to immediately create the map. As the operator, the robot operator is creating the map, the robot is creating a digital map of your area. When you get back, you basically come back to that same location. So your start and stop point are the same location. You hit save, the map saves, and you can immediately run that map. That is one of the great things and one of the reasons why I believe that our technology has been so accepted by the industry, is because it is very user-friendly. It's very intuitive. You don't need any special training, and literally within minutes of an operator getting up on the machine with some basic instruction, operators are out creating highly successful maps of the area that they would like to clean.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I would just add that infrastructure is a really big, scary word, and there's nothing like that required when you install one of the Tennant AMR cleaning machines with Brain. You need a safe place to park it, a place to charge it, which most airports have. You need a place to hang a 5-inch by 5-inch home marker, and then somewhere in the airport where that robot is going to be on a regular basis, you just need to have a regular cell signal so that the machine can both send data and receive data and keep updated with the latest software version. So that's it. That's all you need. Then you just need an operator and passengers.
Thank you so much for that. Our next question is for Chris. What's the USP of the Brain technology?
Thank you very much. So, unique selling point of the Brain technology. Really, I think there are two factors in why Tennant and Brain have been so successful. The first is safety. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we have over 1.7 million autonomous run hours with Tennant units, billions of square feet covered. Our robots are incredibly safe. And that is always going to be the number one priority when implementing robots. You want to make sure you're going with a safe technology, especially, utilizing it in a open, public, dynamic space. Number two, as was mentioned, is really the simplicity of the system, the teach and repeat technology. It really, as I said, it's very simple to deploy. It is very user-friendly. It's very accommodating to the robot operators, very simplistic. We designed it knowing that we were going to be running in all different environments. We were going to be utilizing people from all different cultures with all different languages, and we wanted to make sure that they all felt comfortable. We have multiple languages built into the machine, but a lot of it is actually symbols. So a robot operator can move through it really, really quickly. So I would really say the simplicity of the system, and number one, of course, is safety. Those are the two biggest selling points. And then, of course, you get all the additional data and all the other information, which is all just bonuses on top of the safety and simplicity.
Thank you so much for that answer, Chris. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today. So that just leaves me to thank Dave Frank, Chris Wright, Don Tu, Kevin Nicholson for what was a great presentation, and to BrainCorp and Tennant for sponsoring this webinar. To the attendees, you will receive an email shortly telling you how you can access the on-demand version of this webinar, or you can access this through our website, which is www.business-review-webinars.com. We look forward to sharing further webinars with you, so please do keep an eye out on the website just mentioned earlier. Thank you once again, and I hope you all have a lovely day.